Many people have noticed and commented on the Star Wars front of house set we have on display in our home cinema, and so I thought I would tell you how I came to own them as part of the 1977 Star Wars press pack. My lifelong friend Ian managed to blag the quad Star Wars poster out of our local cinema when it finished its run there in the summer of 1978. That really was something quite special to own, but then a few years later, it could have actually been about 25 years, maybe a little more than that, he phoned me up one day to say that beloved poster had gone missing, and he really was quite upset about it. And so, thanks to my connections through the British Film Collectors Conventions, which we're hoping to resurrect once this pandemic is over, I was able to track down a chap who had that same quad poster in his attic, and he was giving up his film collecting days and clearing his collection of all his films and memorabilia. So I contacted him and tentatively asked him how much he wanted for that beloved poster. 3, he replied, to which I replied, 300? And he said, no, £3. So I thought, well, I can't just send him £3 for that treasured poster. And so I sent him a cheque for £10, whereupon a pack came back to me, and it was this complete Star Wars press pack with that poster enclosed. I knew nothing of this, but this is something that was put out to cinemas before the film was released in this country to give them some guidance on the film and how to promote it. So I thought this was an opportunity, since I just rediscovered it, to go through this with you. The press pack contains several loose sheets which details various aspects, we'll come on to those, but it also had those 8 front of house stills which I felt very fortunate to have, and indeed had never actually seen them before. The first sheet is a synopsis of the story for cinemas to use in any local press release, and this is followed by information about the production, but this is almost entirely a duplicate of the press story sheet, so perhaps just covering all the bases there so nothing could be missed in any promotional material. Now look at this accessory sheet, which has the famous UK quad poster listed for the asking price of just 44p. How I wish I had a time machine and could go back and stock up on those. Could probably take early retirement on that basis alone. And then just under that, the 10x8 front of house set of 8 stills is listed for hire at a cost of just £1.10. So perhaps I was really lucky to get them included within this press pack, as it doesn't seem they were generally available and contained within it. The other side to the accessories is a list of editorial blocks available to cinemas, and these are presumably for promotional reproduction in any local magazines or newspapers. The final 2 sheets are all about associated promotional items and merchandise. Probably the most interesting among these is the original soundtrack double album, which I'm sure many people seeing this already have. But I just happened to have my copy with me when I met Dave Prowse at a British Film Collectors Convention in the early 1990s, and I got this fabulous signed picture from him. Needless to say, he spotted my album and said I could sign that for you too, so that was handed over and his scrawl went in that. Also listed on the promotional sheet is the Storyteller on Pi Records, which was expected to be released by Christmas 1977. That finally appeared as The Story of Star Wars, which narrated the story of the film over the original soundtrack. My own copy is a little tired by now, but it's still nice to have it, and perhaps something a little historic, given that we're unlikely to see this sort of thing again. The first Super 8 release of Star Wars was a 200-foot extract from Ken Films in America, and this actually found its way onto the market here in the UK before the film was released to cinemas, and some of us were lucky enough to see that before we saw the film at the cinema, so that was something very special. I had that first 200-foot reel for many years, but since I acquired the 400-foot reel later on, I gave that away. And then when I acquired the feature film a few years later, I gave my first 400-foot reel away. But I did keep the second 400-foot extract, which is in scope format, and indeed I showed that reel in my first ever movie collector video I put up on YouTube. I think it was May year 2020. So I'll link to that in the description below and on the end of this video, so if you're one of those that's really into Star Wars, might be worth taking another look at that. However, when it comes to the press pack, the best news of all with this story is that just after I acquired all this, my friend Ian found his original poster, so I got to keep the original quad poster that came with this. And it's slightly different to Ian's because Ian's was before it had won the Oscars that year. He got 7 Academy Awards, Best Visual Effects and Best Original Score being the 2 prime ones, and they listed them on the 1978 version of the poster. So very special to have it, and that will bring us on to the next story really, because I'm going to get this framed somehow and finally put it up, because I don't think it's ever seen the light of day, so it's unfaded, still looks absolutely perfect. Now, I'm sure many of you will have seen Keith at Euphoria Pictures is moving his home cinema at the moment. He's got a room or a new building in his garden and he's transferring everything to that. It's a pod, so I've made all the quips about there'll be 2 peas in a pod and the pod people, all that sort of thing. I was trying to think of some more, but couldn't really come up with some, so maybe we can all head over there and take the mickey a bit that way. But anyway, he's getting a bit distraught with moving his collection and setting up his television in there. He might be getting a video projector later, so that'll be exciting. But this pod looks absolutely fabulous, and if you haven't seen the video of it being delivered, it's like something from Independence Day when the UFOs come over. Really quite incredible. Not something you really want going over your roof, just hoisted up there by a few chains. But nevertheless, he's got it there, and it's going to be an exciting time watching how that comes along. Now, as sympathetic as I am for Keith and the troubles he's going through moving his collection, that's got nothing on what we're doing because we're moving house. So this might be the last video I make from this home cinema, and I'm sure a lot of people are going to be a bit put out by that because the comments I've had about how much they love this sort of traditional looking picture palace almost with the red and the red curtains, because most people these days just replicate the look of a multiplex, which is sort of dark and bland, but that's fair enough, that's what people are used to today. But in my day I used to love going in and seeing the red curtains and the way they swish open and everything else. So we're going to be doing a new home cinema, so not too long now, and we'll probably be moving from here and setting up doing videos from our new location. But one of the things we want to do is to get back into using our 10-foot screen, which is a 10x6 I think. We got it from the Widescreen Centre, Tony Shaps at the Widescreen Centre on Dorset Street, just off Baker Street in London, about 30 years ago. And sadly Tony died recently, and Tony is actually the father of Grant Shaps, the MP here. So it was really quite sad when he died, because we got to know him quite well. Bit of a rogue at times, but you couldn't help but love him. But anyway, Tony Shaps, that's where our screen came from, and I thought you'd like to take a look at it. So here it is being unfurled in our living room. We don't get to use it very often in here because we don't have blackout curtains on the windows, and so it's only really in the darkest winter months that we can use this screen, and I only ever use it for film. I think I've only ever projected video on it for about a week, and that was 15 years or so ago, just before we left London. So anyway, it will be nice to get back into using a 10-foot wide screen. So that's the intention when we get to our new place. We're going to have a lot of work to do, but it might be worth staying tuned, because I'll be able to show you how a home cinema comes together. And rest assured, I do intend to keep the red curtains. I will have to do an extension to them, so I'm thinking about 2 sets of curtains. One in sort of shiny red on the outside, which will be on the outer edge, and the traditional ones we've got here on the inner. All the masking I'll extend, and I'm not sure if we're going to use the roll down screen initially or I'm going to paint one of the walls in, but the room we intend to use is going to be big enough. So at the moment it's looking pretty bare in here, because I've spent the last 4 weeks helping my wife Suzanne pack up the house, and as horrifying as it is to see Keith at Euphoria Pictures with his collection, when it comes to moving a massive Super 8 and 35mm collection, you need a 20-ton lorry I think to move the lot. So anyway, coming soon will be new videos from our new location, and it should be quite exciting to see the construction of a new cinema, which we then hope to extend later on and turn into something really special. So stay with me. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, because I haven't actually done one for about 4 weeks now, and see you in the next video. Bye bye for now.